Another interesting discussion we are going to run today with Hülya Kurt, our very often and very welcome guest and trainer and speaker in Bevel ON. And we will be talking today about the cross-cultural relations, leadership patterns, and communications. Hülya, welcome to this live studio today.
Thank you so much, Ina, for inviting.
It's always a pleasure. We are finding with you so many insights and discussing on the different action points on how actually we can help the people who are joining the Bevel On capacity building program to move on in life and to improve the current state of things, especially when we talk about the matter of migration, right? Globally,
Correct.
that migration matter is growing. The case is driven by the political instability, climate change, different economical developments, and the digital and artificial intelligence development as well. That is actually to some extent replacing the human jobs, right? But I would like to talk today about the human to human interaction. And within the migration topic, many people arrive to a new country feeling overwhelmed with the change. They don't pay much of the attention to the cultural differences they dive into, but probably just the language. But there are so many psychological patterns that define different cultures. You've been in the international cross-cultural environment since a while. What are your observations when people arrive? What do they do? How they should actually mix and mingle between that diverse cultures they meet in new country?
So that's a very, very relevant topic because migration continues as we speak and it will never end. We are living in a global environment, right? What I think, and I migrated as well from Turkey into Switzerland, and I remember the culture shock I had because it's completely different. I'm coming from Istanbul. Istanbul is big, is vast, and the shops are open 24/7. And here it's not. So that was the first shock as a mother, as a wife, but also as a professional, because you work the whole day and then you just get out of rush, out of the shop, out of the work, and then go into the shop, try to buy something, etc. Complete shock. What's going to happen when we migrate? And I know for displaced professionals, it's always the same. Whether you like it or not, it's a culture shock. And the one thing that we need to start with is first with ourselves, being prepared, being open, and showing empathy as well. First to ourselves, because you cannot basically simply in the first month understand the cultural differences. No, it will take some time. So, first, understand yourself. What's the emotional impact on you, on your family, on your kids? Understand the triggers. Don't get too emotional because we are in a state of sometimes losing or afraid of losing our own authentic culture, our own roots. These are emotional, psychological, impacts that we have. And then the hope sometimes fades and the unknown is getting bigger and bigger. So we need to understand ourselves first, right? And this change of logistics, of culture, of people, of language is so overwhelming in the first month is normal. So we need to accept the fact that first we need to calm down and we need to understand. We need to see where we are with our own acceptance, first with our own emotions. Once we settle down, and that means to create a safe home first for your kids, then you can start to think about cross cultural communication and building emotions and building networks. And that is like adapting without losing yourself. That's what I'm always saying. You've got your roots, you're Ukrainian, I'm Turkish. Adapting in a way where you don't lose your own authenticity, your own roots, whilst as well celebrating and welcoming the new culture, huh? And to learn the new customs. How is business done? What's the business etiquette, which is not spoken and nowhere taught? It's an unknown sphere where you need to discover yourself. and how people talk, how they build relationships, that means first observe, speak second, listen carefully, even if you don't understand all the languages. Whatever you pick up is a good clue, because we know when we are landing in a different culture, sometimes we mix and mingle with local people as well. However, I must say Geneva is very international, and we have got English as the main spoken language, almost to say, maybe the second one. It helps. Though, again, observe, watch how people greet each other, how they hand over their business card, how they express their emotions. See if they say yes, does it really mean yes, or does it mean a no? I mean, I was working with, I don't know, so many diverse different teams across Asia, Africa, Europe. Germany, very strict, very direct. Russia also, boom, really direct, where you can feel offended suddenly. Oh God, you know what's happening here? Did I say something wrong? So this is what we need to understand. We need to first observe, listen, watch, and get the clues how we can build these relationships effectively, either as a leader, as someone who looks for job opportunities, or something else. So that's a whole navigation in the minefield of a new culture to manage being and mastering effective communication.
I think there is an important element I was thinking while you were giving us the insights. When people are moving into the new environment, and especially if we're talking about the expatriated migrants, professionals that land into the new job here, they actually are placed in the culture of their corporate environment.
Correct.
What we observe today in the market, that there are a lot of expatriated professionals are actually leaving the jobs because of the redundancies of the many different reasons, budget cuts, etc. And then when they land into the external to their corporate building environment, then it appears that it's very difficult to build a new relations. And what they believed as the culture based on the corporate culture is very different what is based on the human to human international culture, right? And we're talking a lot, and you teach the networking in Bevel ON capacity building program, networking strategies and how to do it effectively. I want to merge both topics now and ask you, what are these missteps or necessary steps for international professionals to build this networking, long-term, trust-based relations when we talk about diverse cultural backgrounds in front of us?
What a great again question, and you're spot on. Because I come as well from a silo, right? When you're in corporates, you've got your corporate culture, you feel safe. When you have been made redundant, suddenly you're exposed. And there is no company anymore behind you, and there is no title that supports it. So you are your own personal brand. So, first and foremost, again, it starts with you to understand how to introduce yourself. And the more you're active, even when you work in different networks, the better. So call out to any professionals who are not displaced yet. Make your network outside the silo of your corporate. For the ones who are in this group, well, the more you are networking with different groups, and that necessarily does not need to be in your own group either. It can be completely different across industries. The more you go, the more you observe, the more you watch what is the pace, the tone, the context. Is it indirect, direct? Is it direct? Who's talking how? That's important. The more you're exposed to these extra different networks, the more you will learn how to navigate. Because it's firstly, for that, you need to have what? You need to be very open. You need to be very welcoming. You shall be non judgmental because you don't know from which background they're coming. When we say culture, it's not only the language, it's also something else. It's the tradition, it's the customs, it's also religion, it's also how they greet each other. I remember I was on a short-term assignment in South Africa. And as there direct as I am, I had to ask a question to someone at the petrol station to find a way. 2005, we didn't have all these GPSs and everything. So I went right in and shake hands and I said, we want to go XYZ. How do we go? You know, this South African person looked at me in the eyes, calm. How are you doing, ma'am? I said, oh, ouch. Okay, I got it. You see, said, I'm very well. How are you doing? I'm very well. I trust you well. I trust you well as well. Okay. Now he started to explain how to get to where we wanted to go. So these little clues are so important, and each culture is different. And when we talk about this cross-cultural outside world for professionals, outside their silo, you need to be understanding the culture, not judging, not ask, why do you do this in this way? Because it's like this. There are things which are gravity. We cannot change it. It is how business is done. So accept that, see how you can adapt with not losing yourself. Again, be authentic, but at the same time open, warm, interested. Ask open questions. Oh, that's very interesting how you do that. For example, here in Geneva, you know it better, Ina. When we're in a restaurant, what happens? You've got a glass of wine, and in Turkey, we don't look into the eyes. It's for us, you don't look into the eyes. But here, it's like different. When you greet, santé, look in the eyes. Otherwise, it's rude. So you need to keep up with all the diverse little snippets to create that trust relationship. But what creates trust? It's to be open, to ask these open questions. Oh, that's interesting. I was not aware that you're actually doing this. Tell me more about it. Understand, have that little step towards them, the different culture, so that you build trust and that you understand and that you learn. Because someone who's outside their corporate needs to be open to learn, needs to be open to ask. Otherwise, you will be stigmatized as being difficult, not adapting, not integrating as well. And it will be much more difficult to make business and build these networks that you need for your professional life. So it's better that we are in a place where we are just curious. That's all. Just curious. Like when you go somewhere to visit, I don't know, to Japan, complete different culture. Oh my God, it was hilarious. I was there in April. Konnichiwa, konnichiwa. You always like this, very, very polite, very polite. So you pick up all these things. For first and foremost, be curious, ask open questions, be interested in that culture. How do you do? Where's this coming from? For example, escalade. I really asked, where is escalade coming from? I'm just interested. And this creates trust. This creates bridges across all cultures. Again, not only once, though. You need to show up. You need to be consistent in showing up. And you share your experiences as well. That's very interesting. So, first time I hear about that, I'm coming from a professional background and this is how we did it there. But I hear, again, the communication, which is inviting, which is also expressing from where you are coming. Because we want at the same time have a conversation, showing respect, genuine interest again in others' stories. People love to talk about themselves. Also, follow up, very important. And again, give before taking. You can also offer. Why? Because each of us, of all the professionals who arrive as an expert, or whatever the reason is, we have something to offer that other people and this culture needs as well. So, being curious, genuine interest, patient, share experiences as well, be consistent, show respect, and show your value to them because each one of us have got that. It's just a conversation which is authentic enough and interesting and open enough to exchange these ideas to create these bridges and this diverse network. I can talk for hours, Ina. Yeah, go ahead.
I think what is also critical here from the behavioral patterns standpoint is that when we see someone who comes from the same culture as us or similar to us in terms of appearance, the language, the body language patterns of character, etc., the brain perceives that person as trustful person, and then we build the rapport and the communication on that. If someone is from the very different culture, and especially if we are talking about different parts of the world, the brain automatically on the deep psychology level perceive that person as the threat, right? And we have the immediate blockages on how we find it difficult to build a conversation on the relation with that person, right? What you said in terms of insights on being open, on being curious, on value other experience and cultures by bringing the value of yours as well, create this connection and common points and become these interesting synergies on how you can enrich the relations between each other and not being anxious about other people as again driven by the unconscious behavior of our brain, right? Julia, thank you so much for this live. Thank you so much for the insights. You have the wide, the culturally diverse experience, and I'm learning all the time from you. And again, teaching the cross-cultural leadership in Bevel on capacity building program is something with you that enrich the whole program and the way of thinking for our participants who are in the majority of migrants in different cultural backgrounds, right? Landing here in Europe, in Switzerland, the most learning from you is the treasure we can offer them within the program.
Thank you so much, Ina. I appreciate that wonderful opportunity and also to talk and walk along with your wonderful professionals because each one of you are very precious.
Thank you so much.